In a distant future, Earth lay in ruins, a shadow of its former self. Alien ships hovered in the skies, casting long shadows over the broken cities below. The people of Earth lived in fear, their lives controlled by a ruthless alien empire. Among them was Ilara, a young woman with fierce determination and a heart full of hope. She had seen her friends and family suffer at the hands of their alien overlords, and each day brought new struggles. Ilara had grown up in a world where despair was common. The streets were filled with reminders of a once thriving civilization, now reduced to rubble. The bright colors of nature faded under the weight of alien technology. Buildings that had touched the sky now lay flat on the ground. People scavenged for food, and whispers of rebellion were often silenced by the swift hand of the Empire. Ilara had lost too much. Her parents taken away, her home destroyed, and her childhood stolen. One cold morning, as Ilara walked through the ruins of her neighborhood, she stumbled upon an old library. The doors creaked as she pushed them open, revealing rows of dusty books. The air was thick with the smell of paper and decay. Curiosity sparked within her, and she began to search through the remnants of knowledge left behind by humanity. Hours passed as she flipped through pages filled with stories of bravery, courage, and triumph. Just when she thought she might leave empty-handed, a flash of color caught her eye. Tucked between two ancient tomes, she found a faded map. Its edges were frayed, but the markings were clear. A place was marked deep in the mountains, labeled as the Ancient Weapon. Her heart raced. Could this be the key to freeing her people? With newfound hope, Ilara carefully rolled up the map and tucked it into her jacket. She knew she couldn't keep this discovery to herself. She needed help. Gathering her courage, she set out to find others who shared her dream of freedom. As she walked through the streets, she spotted a group of rebels huddled in an alley. They were talking in hushed tones, their faces a mix of fear and determination. Ilara approached them, her heart pounding. "I found something," she said, her voice steady. "An ancient weapon that could help us fight back." The leader of the group, a man named Jarek, looked at her with skepticism. "Another fairy tale, Ilara? We've heard enough stories." "This is different," Ilara insisted, holding up the map. "It's real. We can find it together." After a moment of silence, Jarek glanced at the others, who nodded in agreement. "All right, we'll hear you out," he said. "But it better not be a waste of our time." With a small group of rebels gathered, Ilara felt a spark of hope ignite within her. They made plans to leave at dawn, heading toward the mountains where the ancient weapon was said to be hidden. That night, Ilara couldn't sleep. Thoughts raced through her mind. What if the weapon was real? What if they could actually defeat the aliens? She remembered her family and friends who had suffered and fought for every inch of freedom. The weight of their loss pushed her to keep moving forward. As the sun began to rise, Ilara and the rebels set out, their hearts filled with a mix of fear and excitement. The mountains loomed in the distance, their peaks touching the clouds. Each step brought them closer to a new beginning, a chance to change their fate. But danger lurked everywhere. Alien patrols roamed the area, searching for any sign of rebellion. Ilara knew they had to be careful. She led the way, determined to keep her team safe. They would face challenges ahead, but Ilara's resolve burned brightly. She was ready to fight for a future where hope could thrive once more. In that moment, she realized that even in the darkest hour, the light of hope could never be extinguished. Together, they would seek the ancient weapon and fight for their world, for the future of humanity. As dawn broke over the horizon, Ilara and her small group of rebels stood at the base of the towering mountains. The air was crisp and filled with tension. They had left behind the ruins of their homes, each step taking them closer to a glimmer of hope. Ilara looked at her team, Jarek, the skeptical leader, Mira, the quick-witted hacker, and Kai, the strong fighter. They all shared the same goal, to find the ancient weapon and reclaim their freedom. "Remember, we must stay quiet," Jarek reminded the group. "The aliens are always watching. If they catch us, it's over." Ilara nodded. She felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. The fate of her people depended on them, and failure was not an option. They began their ascent, navigating through rocky paths and dense trees, determined to reach their destination. As they climbed higher, the landscape changed. The air grew colder, and the trees became thicker, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. Shadows danced in the dim light, and Alara felt a chill run down her spine. But she pushed the fear aside. They were warriors, fighting for their lives and their future. Hours passed, and they took short breaks to catch their breath. Each member of the group contributed in their own way. Mira used her skills to find safe routes, always alert for signs of alien patrols. Kay kept spirits high with jokes and stories from the past, reminding them of the strength they possessed. Alara felt grateful for her companions. Together, they were stronger. As night fell, they set up a small camp on a ledge, surrounded by tall trees that provided some cover. Alara felt a sense of safety, but she knew they had to be cautious. "We should take turns watching," she suggested. "We can't let our guard down." Yarek agreed. "I'll take the first watch. The rest of you try to get some sleep." Alara settled down, but sleep didn't come easily. She lay awake, staring at the stars peeking through the branches. They were beautiful, a reminder of the world that once was. She thought about her family and friends who had been taken by the aliens, their laughter silenced. She promised herself that she would fight for them and for all those who still suffered. The next morning, they continued their journey. Alara felt a spark of excitement as they approached the area marked on the map. "We're getting close," she said, her voice filled with hope. As they reached a clearing, they found a large stone structure partially hidden by vines and moss. It looked ancient, worn by time, but still standing strong. Alara's heart raced. "This must be it," she breathed. The group moved closer, their eyes wide with wonder. The structure was covered in strange markings, symbols that seemed to tell a story of humanity's past. Mira pulled out her portable scanner, hoping to decode the symbols. "Give me a moment," she said, focusing on the device. While Mira worked, Jarek examined the entrance. "It looks safe, but we should be careful. We don't know what could be inside," he warned. "Let's move quickly," Alara urged. "We can't risk being discovered by the aliens." Mira's device beeped, and she looked up with excitement. "I think I can understand some of this. These symbols talk about a powerful weapon that was hidden to protect it from falling into the wrong hands." Alara's heart soared. "That's it! We need to get inside." They carefully made their way through the entrance, which creaked open to reveal a dimly lit hall. Inside, the air was thick with dust, and the walls were lined with ancient artifacts and relics. Each item held a piece of history, a reminder of what humanity had once achieved. But as they ventured deeper, a sense of unease washed over Alara. Something felt wrong. "Stay alert," she whispered, sensing danger in the air. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the hall. The ground shook and Alara's heart raced. "We have to get out of here," she shouted, fear gripping her. They turned to flee, but the entrance had begun to collapse. Dust filled the air and debris rained down around them. With quick thinking, Kai pushed Alara and Mira out of the way just in time. But Jarek was trapped, struggling to escape the falling stones. "Yarek!" Alara screamed, reaching out for him. In that moment, everything felt like it was falling apart. Alara realized they were not just searching for a weapon, they were fighting for their lives. Together, they would face whatever came next, determined to uncover the secrets of humanity's past and find the strength to reclaim their future. Dust hung in the air as Alara struggled to catch her breath. The sound of falling rocks echoed in her ears, and her heart raced as she looked back at the entrance of the ancient hall. Yarek was trapped, his hands reaching out to them, panic written across his face. "Help me!" he shouted, his voice strained. Alara felt a surge of fear and determination. They couldn't leave him behind. "Stay strong, Jarek! We'll get you out!" Alara called back, her mind racing. With Kai's strength and Alara's quick thinking, they began to remove the debris. Mira used her scanner to identify weaker spots in the falling rubble, guiding them as they worked. Every second felt like an eternity as they fought against the weight of the stones. Finally, with a loud grunt, Kai lifted a heavy slab, creating just enough space for Jarek to wiggle free. "Hurry!" Alara urged, her voice a mix of fear and hope. Yarek crawled out just in time, gasping for air. "Let's go! We don't have much time," he said, glancing nervously at the darkening entrance. The group raced deeper into the hall, their hearts pounding with adrenaline. The air grew cooler as they entered a larger chamber filled with strange machinery and glowing crystals embedded in the walls. Alara's eyes widened in awe. "This must be where the weapon is hidden," she whispered, stepping cautiously into the room. Mira's scanner beeped, and she moved closer to a large, circular platform in the center of the chamber. "This is it!" "The weapon is here, but I need to figure out how to activate it." Ilara and Kai joined her, examining the intricate designs etched into the platform. "What does it say?" Ilara asked, her excitement bubbling up. Mira focused on her scanner, her brow furrowing. "It talks about harnessing the power of human will and emotion. To activate the weapon, we need to channel our strength together." Ilara felt a mixture of hope and fear. "What if we can't do it?" "We have to try," Jarek said, determination in his voice. "This is our chance to fight back." They gathered around the platform, their hearts racing. "We need to think of our reasons for fighting," Ilara urged. "Our families, our homes, everything we've lost." As they closed their eyes, Ilara felt a rush of memories flood her mind. She thought of her parents, their laughter echoing in her heart, and the friends she had lost along the way. Each thought fueled her desire to reclaim their world. "Feel the anger and the love," Jarek added, his voice steady. "Let it guide us." Mira, Kai, and Ilara joined hands, channeling their emotions into the platform. A warm light began to glow, spreading from the center and illuminating the chamber. The crystals around them pulsed with energy, resonating with their feelings. Suddenly, the platform shook violently. Ilara opened her eyes, startled. "What's happening?" "I don't know," Mira shouted, her voice filled with excitement and fear. "Keep going!"
"We're close!"
Ilara focused harder, pouring every ounce of strength and emotion into the weapon. The room filled with a blinding light, and they felt a surge of energy course through them. The weapon was awakening. With one final push, the light erupted into a brilliant beam that shot up into the sky. The entire chamber shook, and the walls trembled as the ancient weapon responded to their call. Then, just as suddenly as it had begun, everything fell silent. The glow faded, and the room returned to darkness. Ilara, Jarek, Mira, and Kai stood panting, their hands still clasped together. "Did it work?" Ilara asked, her heart racing with uncertainty. Mira looked at the platform, which now pulsed softly with light. "I think so."
"We did it!"
Ilara felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had awakened the weapon, but what would it mean for their fight against the alien empire? As they stepped back from the platform, the chamber seemed to come alive with energy. The air crackled with possibilities, and Ilara knew that they had just taken the first step toward reclaiming their freedom. "Now we have to use this power wisely," Jarek said, his expression serious. "We're not just fighting for ourselves, we're fighting for all of humanity." Ilara nodded, feeling the weight of their mission settle over her. Together they had found the ancient weapon, but the real challenge lay ahead. They were ready to face it, united in their cause, determined to fight back against the alien oppressors and bring hope back to Earth. With the ancient weapon awakened, Ilara and her team returned to the remnants of their city, ready to confront the alien empire. The weapon pulsed with energy, a beacon of hope in their fight for freedom. The people of Earth were tired of living in fear, and now they had a chance to rise up. As they gathered the rebels in a hidden location, Ilara felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. "This is it," she said, addressing the crowd of weary but determined faces. "Today we take back our home. We have the power to change everything." Jarek stepped forward, his voice steady. "We need to strike at the heart of the alien control. If we can take out their command center, we can disrupt their operations and give our people a fighting chance." Mira nodded, her eyes shining with determination. "I can hack into their systems and create chaos from the inside. They won't see us coming." The rebels cheered, their spirits lifting as Ilara rallied them. They set out as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the city. The streets were eerily quiet, the air thick with anticipation. Ilara led the way, her heart pounding with every step. They moved swiftly, using back alleys and hidden paths to avoid alien patrols. The city felt alive with possibilities as they approached the command center, a towering structure that loomed over the ruins. As they reached the command center, Mira pulled out her device, scanning for weak points. "There's a ventilation shaft here," she pointed. "It should lead us inside. Once we're in, I can access their systems." With quick teamwork, they climbed into the shaft, crawling through the narrow space. Ilara felt a sense of urgency. They were so close, and failure was not an option. After what felt like hours, they finally reached an opening. Ilara peered out and saw the heart of the alien operation. Monitors flickered with data, and alien soldiers moved about, completely unaware of the danger lurking in the shadows. "Now, Mira," Ilara whispered, her pulse racing. Mira slipped into the room, her fingers flying over her device as she began to hack into the alien systems. "Just a moment. I'm in!" she exclaimed. The monitors flashed as Mira's commands took effect. "I'm creating a distraction. Get ready!" Suddenly, alarms blared and lights began to flash red. Ilara's heart raced as chaos erupted in the command center. Alien soldiers scrambled, shouting in confusion. "What's happening?" one shouted. "We're under attack! Now!" Ilara shouted, and the rebels charged into the room, weapons ready. They fought fiercely, using their training and the power of the ancient weapon. Ilara felt the energy of the weapon flow through her, giving her strength and courage. The battle was intense. Ilara ducked and dodged, her heart pounding as she faced the alien soldiers. She could see Jarek and Kai fighting side by side, taking down enemies with swift movements. Mira stayed at her station, focused on her device, calling out commands. "Left flank!" she shouted, directing the rebels. "We need to take out the control panels." Ilara and Jarek charged toward the panels, firing their weapons at the aliens trying to protect them. The sound of blaster fire filled the room, mixing with the cries of the wounded. They were fighting not just for their lives, but for the future of humanity. Just as they were gaining ground, a massive alien commander stepped into the room. He towered over them, his eyes glowing with rage. "You dare challenge us?" he roared. Ilara felt a wave of fear wash over her, but pushed it aside. "We fight for our freedom," she yelled back, raising her weapon. With a mighty roar, the commander lunged at them. Ilara could feel the energy of the ancient weapon surge within her, and she focused it, directing it toward the alien. A beam of brilliant light shot from the weapon, hitting the commander and sending him crashing to the ground. The rebels cheered, and Ilara felt a rush of hope. They were winning! But the battle was far from over. The remaining alien soldiers regrouped, determined to push them back. "Keep fighting!" Jarek shouted, rallying the rebels. "We can't let up now!" Ilara stood firm, her heart racing. They were so close to victory, and she could feel the energy of her people behind her. Together they fought fiercely, united in their desire for freedom. As the last of the alien soldiers fell, the command center fell silent. Ilara looked around, her heart swelling with pride. They had done it. They had fought back against the alien empire and reclaimed a part of their home. But Ilara knew this was just the beginning. The fight for Earth was far from over, and together they would face whatever came next. The dawn broke over the horizon, casting a warm glow on the city of ruins. Ilara stood at the edge of the command center, her heart filled with a mix of relief and determination. The battle had been fierce, but they had prevailed. They had pushed back against the alien empire and taken the first step toward reclaiming their home. Ilara looked around at her friends. Jarek, Mira, and Kai stood with her, their faces smeared with dirt and sweat, but their eyes shone with victory. "We did it," Ilara said, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "We fought back, and we won." Jarek nodded, a proud smile spreading across his face. "This is just the beginning. We need to spread the word and unite the people. There are still many who need to know they are not alone." Mira pulled out her device, tapping furiously to send messages across the city. "I'm contacting every rebel group I can reach. They need to know we've taken down the command center. We can inspire them to join us." Kai looked up at the sky, where the first rays of sunlight broke through the clouds. "This is a new dawn for humanity," he said, his voice filled with hope. "We can rebuild and fight back against the aliens together." As they worked to spread the news, Ilara felt a sense of purpose wash over her. They had awakened the ancient weapon, and it had given them the strength to fight back. But she knew they had to stay vigilant. The alien empire wouldn't give up easily. As the day progressed, groups of rebels began to gather outside the command center. Each face was filled with a mix of hope and uncertainty. Ilara stepped forward to address them, her heart pounding in her chest. "Listen," she called, her voice ringing out. "We have faced darkness, but together we have brought light back to our world. We fought for our freedom, and we will continue to fight until every corner of our planet is safe. We must unite and strengthen our resolve." The crowd erupted into cheers, their spirits lifted by Ilara's words. She could see determination on their faces, a fire igniting within them. They were ready to rise up and reclaim their future. As Ilara looked around, she spotted an old man in the crowd. His face was lined with wrinkles and his eyes held deep sadness. She approached him, her heart aching for the stories he must hold. "What's your name?" she asked gently. Isaac, he replied, his voice hoarse. I've lost so much to the aliens. I didn't think I'd see a day like this. Ilara placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. You're not alone anymore, Isaac. We will rebuild our world together. As the sun continued to rise, the group began to make plans. They discussed strategies for the coming battles and how to spread the message of hope to other cities. Each person contributed ideas, bringing their unique skills to the table. Ilara felt a sense of unity grow stronger among them. Mira stepped forward with her device. I've managed to access more of the alien systems. We can use their communication networks to our advantage. We can send messages far and wide, urging others to join our fight. That's brilliant, Yarrick said, his excitement contagious. We can create a coalition of rebel groups across the planet. Together we will stand strong. As the day turned into evening, they set to work. The atmosphere buzzed with energy and determination. Ilara knew that this was just the beginning of a long journey. But for the first time, she felt a sense of hope. That night, they gathered around a small fire outside the command center. The flames danced in the cool night air, and Ilara looked at her friends and the rebels who had come together. She felt a bond forming between them, a shared purpose that was stronger than fear. Tomorrow we will continue our fight, Ilara said, her voice firm. We will not rest until our world is free. We will show the aliens that humanity will not be defeated. The crowd cheered, their voices rising into the night sky. Ilara could see the fire of determination in their eyes, the promise of a brighter future ahead. As she lay down to sleep, Ilara closed her eyes and let the warmth of the fire wrap around her. She dreamed of a world where laughter filled the air, where children could play without fear. She dreamed of a new dawn, one where humanity stood united and strong against any threat. And as the first light of morning broke through the darkness, Ilara knew they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would reclaim their world and build a future filled with hope, courage, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity.